So let's get straight into it. Mikel Merino and Raheem Sterling. And uh, I was telling you for Raheem Sterling is a very good signing. And at the same time, I wasn't happy about it because against last season against Chelsea, Raheem Sterling was really doing he caused us problem. And he's someone that has that experience. And another reason again I told you was the fact that what Mikel Arteta has done with Kai Havertz, there's that tendency he can do that to Raheem Sterling, where especially for someone he has worked with in the past. Also, Zinchenko is in that team, so Raheem Sterling is already he knows some familiar faces there. So settling in into the Arsenal team might not be a big problem for him because this is a manager that they've worked with for like not more than 2 years. You get what I'm saying? They know themselves very well. So, but for you, how do you feel about it? Let's start with Raheem Sterling before we go to Mikel Merino.
Raheem Sterling, Raheem Sterling, Raheem Sterling. For me personally, it's bittersweet, and I'll tell you why I say that because I think recency bias is causing me to look at his Chelsea career and kind of like forget how good he is. And then I was like, why did we get Raheem Sterling? But then I sat down and I had to reevaluate and be like, come, you can't forget that this guy was balling out, and it's not an excuse. Chelsea was very poor as a team.
Yeah.
6 managers over 2 seasons is insane. Not a lot of stability. So, and a lot of forwards have not done well at Chelsea. We've seen that over the years. So, I'm not going to blame Raheem Sterling in his entirety for it. But I do think it's a good signing for us because he's very experienced in the Premier League. Played for Liverpool, played for City, played for Chelsea. When he's balling out, he's balling out. We've seen him ball out, and we know that he's a good player.
Yes.
We need that width and that depth as well on the squad. If Raheem Sterling is the one coming off the bench for Bukayo Saka, I'm happy. Or if Martinelli is coming off the bench for Raheem Sterling because we started Raheem Sterling, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are like for like, not skill wise, but these are quality players that we know that at least can make things happen.
Yeah.
And so I think he's a good signing. On settling down at Arsenal, I think it's even better. He's already in London. He's in Chelsea. He doesn't need to. He doesn't need to move anywhere or move his family. He doesn't need to move at home. He doesn't. He's just going to have to probably drive maybe slightly further for training or whatever it is. That's number one. Number two is he's coming to a team where he knows the manager. He's worked with the manager before. There's at least 2 players from his three players from 2 previous clubs he has been at. Kai Havertz at Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko.
Very true. I even forgot.
From Man City. And then also he has some of his old England teammates that he's probably played with, like the Bukayo Sakas and co, who they've all played together for England. So there's a pool of people that he knows and familiarity already. So I think he will settle in quicker than most people expect him to settle in. He's not looking for a new home. He's not trying to settle into the house and buy new furniture. He's already settled on all that front. And then of course on the financial side, Chelsea is bearing the larger burden. Arsenal is also bearing the burden. So he's still earning what he was earning, and he's not losing his he's not stressed by his finances in any way.
Very true. Very true.
There's a lot of factors that are just like, okay, well, everything seems to be on the platter of gold for you now. Just come prove yourself that you are still the Raheem Sterling that we all used to know. So yeah.
And,
so I like the signing.
And the funny thing, this is not like, the truth is no one is expecting Sterling to do a Bukayo Saka kind of number. And it's all about squad depth and just adding goals to that team. If Raheem Sterling gives, let's say, for just Premier League, if he does 10, I'll say that is very good. Like, because it's all about adding more to the team, basically. It's all about adding more to the team. And also, like you said, coming up to either replace Martinelli, he can play on the left, he can play on the right, or Bukayo Saka, which I feel to be more about Bukayo Saka, because Bukayo Saka actually need that rest. Bukayo Saka needs that rest. But then again, what's the expectation for him? For me, the way I see it, maybe Arteta just needs someone that can chip in there when he needs to. Not necessarily like nobody's expecting Raheem Sterling now to. If it happens for him, very good. Of which he's with someone that Mikel Arteta has, I don't know something about Mikel Arteta. He can just find one thing now, and who knows, Sterling might just have that one spark.
Yeah.
You understand, and get back to his very best. And but what would be your own expectation for him?
I mean, if he can do what he did last season for Chelsea, if he
Which
can do what
wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad.
it wasn't a bad season for him.
Yeah,
If
it
he does
wasn't.
what he did for Chelsea last season, I think that Raheem Sterling, I think he did 10 goals and how many assists? I don't remember how many assists, but I know he did about 10 goals
In all competitions.
Let me pull it up while I'm talking.
Okay.
I think he did 10 goals in all competitions, yeah. Or no, let me see in the Premiership, in the Premier League. Let me see Raheem Sterling.
If he did 10 goals in all comps, that's for a Chelsea team that was not really stable.
Yeah, and he also did it by I mean he also did Raheem Sterling did, let's see. Chelsea last season. He did 8 goals. So 9 sub appearances, 31 games, 8 goals, and let's see how many more.
I can see he did 10 goals and 8 assists in all comps for last season.
Yeah. But 8 goals in the I think 8 goals in the Premiership. I know how many in the Premiership.
8 goals in the Premiership. Wow.
I think so. FA Cup, EFL Cup 1, yeah. Oh no, he did 7 goals in the Premiership.
Wow.
Chelsea 5, 6.
Yeah.
7, I think. Yeah, right around 7. Yeah, and that's 7 and then 5 assists. That's a good 12 goals. I mean, if we had that for last season with us, if we had him give us that extra 7 last season,
that's not bad. He did 8 Premier League goals. Therefore, for a Chelsea side, that was he really a regular? I don't think.
No, he didn't. He was subbed about 9 times. He played 31 games, but he came in as a substitute about 9-10 times. So maybe averaging 21 games appearance wise. But I mean, I have to really go and look at the stats to be able to break it down and be like, he started 15 times and sub 9. But he played 31 in all this thing.
And it's a league he already knows and understands. So if he could do 8 in Chelsea, and if he gets more game time in Arsenal, then
imagine doing 8 in a club where it's very unstable. You're not, everything just looks terrible for you, and then and you still put up those type of numbers. So imagine coming to a place where you feel a bit more relaxed, a little more confident in you. People trust you more. The manager knows you. He believes in you. I saw a video of Arteta explaining to Pep Guardiola about Raheem Sterling. An old video.
Yeah,
I'll look for it and send it to you. I'll have to dig and find it, but I saw it today. It was on my feed. And he says there are things he has worked on that he's good at. He knows how to get into the right places. We just need to work with. And Pep was just like this, thinking,
But the only downside for Raheem Sterling is his finishing. He knows how to get into very good positions, but his finishing. The finishing is not the finishing. Raheem Sterling can get into very, very good positions and very good position, but the finishing is just that downside.
Yes, I hear you. But at the end of the day, if he gives me if he gives us the what's the word?
The
numbers that he did last season, that's all we're asking. Because Arsenal, we don't need more than those 2 extra games to beat City. If we look, yeah, I'm serious. If we do what we did last season, if Arsenal plays exactly and we win the game, like we go on to win those games that are difficult for us, and he makes the difference, he makes the assist, or he's the one that those are the odd times where his finishing is good and he scores that goal. That's all we're asking. Just do it, unless
Can I tell you something?
Imagine Raheem Sterling in the Arsenal team against City last season with what he did with you guys against Chelsea. How we defended and how we countered and how Leandro Trossard missed that pass.
That pass. Very true.
Raheem, with the speed and the pace that he has, now not a Leandro Trossard pace, what do you think would have happened?
I know. I don't know. Maybe one. I'll say one. I don't know. I don't want to say if it's a negative for Martinelli and Trossard. They hardly don't drag penalty. You know why I'm saying this? Someone like Savinho. When I was looking at when Man City, when we signed Savinho, one very good thing about him was he brought a certain number of penalties for Girona. And if you check the West Ham game, we got a penalty, and the person that brought the penalty was Savinho. Savinho. Raheem Sterling is like that. He knows.
He buys penalties.
He knows that. So there could be games where Arsenal might be very difficult, and Raheem Sterling inside the box very small touch, and you get that goal, that
Yeah.
penalty.
Yeah, I mean,
So that
all goals will count this season, my brother. All goals are going to count. I am not even going to try to. I'm not going to try to be like, oh, Arsenal got to play beautiful football, blah blah. All of that's in the back of the no. Just penalty, please get it. Whatever you need to get it. I'm not going to, I'm not going to be picky this time around. So yeah,
because I know he's very good at getting penalties. He's very, very good at that. But now, like you said, your expectation just for him to just, if he can still give you the same numbers for Chelsea, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he'll probably do better because, like I said, he did those numbers under very, very, very horrible conditions. At Chelsea, we all see how Chelsea was scatterbrain. So yeah, if we do that, if he does better numbers with us, then I think the job is what we brought him for is good. We didn't pay any fees. We're paying 100,000 a week, which is what we're paying for Eddie Nketiah. So getting rid of Eddie Nketiah and paying Raheem Sterling 100 of his wages is a better, player for player. That's a better player. Yeah. We can't have recency bias. Just a couple of years ago, we know what we were saying about Raheem Sterling 2 seasons ago. And we can't turn around now, yeah.
And he hardly gets injured.
Yeah, we can't turn around again and be like, oh my God, because he was bad at Chelsea. Chelsea was bad. The whole Chelsea was bad. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, all right. So now, Mikel Merino, the signing that I think that one took quite a while before Arsenal could get the deal done. It took quite a while before Arsenal could get the deal done. But what's your take on getting Mikel Merino?
Mikel Merino. I honestly didn't really. I knew him, but I didn't really follow him or know a player, but you just because I knew him.
Same year with me.
Same year Newcastle, with me. The other reason why I also knew him was, when I was looking into Martin Odegaard at the time, when we got Martin Odegaard, his loan at Real Sociedad, and I saw that he played with Mikel Merino and he played with some other people. I was like, and I watched some of his clips at Real Sociedad before, we got him from Madrid that time, the first time he came. So I did see a Merino, Merino showcase some one or two things. I was like, okay, not a bad team, but in Spain, you're not one of the top teams. So let me just back off. But us going for Mikel Merino based off of what he's bringing to the table as a left eight, as a number 8, left-footed 8, who's a dual winning machine, man. That's important.
He knows how to win the balls in very.
That is important for us. If we play a solid back line of say Calafiori, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White, and then in front of them we play a Declan Rice and a Mikel Merino, and then Odegaard to just go and do find all the tricks and flips. That's a solid 6 at the back there that you may never break through.
Mikel has a good problem in his hand.
Yeah. So, we still have Timber that we're not talking about here, and that's him left back. And we've seen how good Timber too is on the ball. I think Mikel Merino fixes the problem that Arsenal has on that left 8. I know a lot of people are saying after Granit Xhaka left, we needed to replace the Granit Xhaka. We're never going to get a player like Granit Xhaka.
It's always hard.
What we will get is a profile in that place that holds what we need them to do, so that we can progress the ball through the left as well and not depend on the right consistently. The problem we've had is we've depended on the right consistently.
The Odegaard side.
The Odegaard, the Bukayo Saka, the Ben White, overlapping. We've depended on that so much. And people have realized that. And a lot of the chances that we've conceded have come from our left side, which then puts players like Gabriel under pressure. And when Gabriel then had the bozo moment, people say, we knew Gabriel is not very good defender. But we forget that we've not strengthened our left-hand side. So if we have someone like him who's a dual winning machine in that left-hand side, who is tracking back box to box as an 8, crashing the box to try and score goals like he did against Germany in the Euros, also tracking back and winning those duels, reduces the amount of pressure on the back, on the fullbacks. And that'll be a good thing, because then a fullback like Calafiori, that is a ball-carrying fullback, can also maraud all the way to the front, while Merino holds that midfield range, and that's a good thing. It's a good problem that we have. I think he's a good profile.
Mikel Arteta has a good problem in his hand, because now he has Partey. Jorginho is still there. Jorginho, who has that experience, he might not really have the legs, but the experience is still there. And sometimes you need that experience in the dressing room. So he has Partey, Declan Rice, Mikel Merino. I think you guys already sold this guy Fabio
Vieira. He's on loan back.
He's on loan.
He's back at his old club on loan.
So do you see like as the season progressed, like the midfield three for Arsenal? Do you think it would be a Declan Rice, Odegaard, and Mikel Merino, or like I'm trying to understand because Partey so far this season has been excellent. A fit Partey is a problem.
Partey hasn't been excellent, to be fair.
Are you serious?
No, he hasn't been excellent. Partey. He's
Yes.
done a job, but he's almost cost us in certain games.
No, just that first game now. Maybe where he lost.
No. He's not just lost the ball. He's given the ball a couple of times. He looks a little more. He looks a little more lethargic, a little more slower than the Partey that we used to know. I think maybe because I am comparing him to Partey of 2 seasons ago. You know,
okay.
I'm like there's something missing that he's not like it's not there. But you know, he's not terrible. He's not that Partey is out of it. And I think Mikel Arteta is going to rotate a lot in our midfield. And I think that's what's going to make Arsenal very unpredictable to play. In the sense that most people are trying to find how Mikel will pigeonhole a 3 midfield player and play that through the season as his top 11. And then, you know, Mikel Arteta is not, I think he's looking at every game uniquely, individually, and saying who fits. Because if you look at the profile of each of these players, right, they're all different profiles in that midfield.
Yeah.
Declan Rice can play a 6 and an 8th. We've seen that.
Yeah.
And he's also a very good 6. Partey plays as a 6. We've seen Partey play right back. We've tried it, but people forget that he's played right back at Atletico as well when he was there. Go back and look at his career. People just conveniently forget that as well, that he's played that position a few times when he was there. Jorginho is a 6. We have that. Odegaard is a right 8 for me, or a 10 as they will call it, whatever. And then we have Mikel Merino as a left 8.
Who can play as a DM as well.
Who can also play as a DM. And then we have Jurriën Timber, who plays left back, but can also play as a DM. And so we have a good problem in our hands where if we need to score a goal quickly, and we are able to do that, because one thing I've been telling everybody is Arsenal will score from multiple ways this season, like we did last season.
Very true.
If it's a set piece goal or a small whatever, once it's done, we go and park the bus. Yeah, that's it. That would be my rule.
But now, but you know, as the season progresses, like as you go deep into competition, you need to have that midfield or those set of players that these are my first 11. Like, so do you think it will be a Declan Rice, Mikel Merino, or Odegaard as the season progresses, or like you said, depending on the opponent?
I think it'll be a Declan, Mikel Merino, and the Odegaard. That's what I think they will play more games together.
Okay.
Because Partey, Declan Rice, and Odegaard is not a very balanced midfield. It's a good midfield, but not balanced. And I'll tell you why. Because Declan Rice also does that box to box, and he's by default a 6 who can play as an 8.
Yes.
Yeah. Every time he runs back, I notice that the channels he tries to run into, right, which allows people which allows Partey to then go to the right, is that central, DM role coming deep into the 6. Declan likes to run back there and win the balls, those lunges that he makes. And when he got that red card against Brighton, against Brighton, and Brighton scored. That channel was so open. Our defenders were so far from each other. They were not close at all. And everybody's like, it's Gabriel. So I said, no. I said, usually that's a space that Declan would have run back into.
Yes.
Would have run back into. Now, whether he's playing well or not, that's not the point. He's going to be in that space. That would be a problem for whoever is coming. They will need to actually have to try to get past them first before they can, take that shot off. And so, I think it will be a more balanced midfield with a Merino on the left, a Declan playing that 6.
Yeah.
And Odegaard on the right. The good thing is Declan has the gas tank to go forward and backwards. Okay. And Merino is a dual winning machine. So those two, when they drop back in, we know that there's cover for the defenders, And when our defenders go up front, like Ben White goes all the way, to overlap for Odegaard, to overlap for Saka. And maybe what's his name? Calafuri on the left channel also goes to support that way. Yeah. You can have a Mikel Merino drop back, Mikel Merino go crash the box. Declan Rice drop back in and play a back three of Declan, Saliba, and Gabriel.
Now, I want to ask, to round this up, Dayo, how will you rate Arsenal signings so far? Like on the scale of 1 to 10, Arsenal summer signing. I think you guys bought Calafuri, Mikel Merino, Sterling, and Neto.
No, we didn't buy Neto. No.
Is a
Oh no, the goalkeeper Neto. Yeah.
the goalkeeper Neto and who again? I think that's and yeah,
Yeah, we bought
that's
4 players.
4 players. So how will you rate? Like, do you think Arsenal have done enough to is it enough to take over the line for Man City? To take over Man City?
It's an 8/10 for me. I know a lot
For
of
me,
people,
I'll say 7.5. I think
I'd say it's an 8/10, and I'll tell you why. Because also, when you are that close to Man City, you're at the top is 2 points. Like, there's very few players that you need to get. Like, what do you want to do? Like, somebody made a statement and it made me laugh. He said, "Oh, I got 97%, man," and the other person, "I got 100%." And then the person who got 97 said, "But it's the same thing, 97, 100." The person who got 100 said, "No, it's not the same thing. You got 97% because that's what you are able to get.
Yes.
I got 100% because that's all there is to get. Big difference.
Yeah.
100 is all you can get. So you have gotten to the point where you want to go toe-to-toe with Man City. You can't peak any higher with the players you bring in. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, just what I'm saying, like, so rating the window is like, oh, okay, let me rate it.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I look at certain games that we didn't play, and I'm looking at the players coming off the bench now. We have players like Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench.
Yeah.
We have players like Calafiori coming off the bench. We have players like Zinchenko, who's going to be our last option for left back, coming off the bench. You have players like Raheem Sterling now coming off the bench. If Mikel Merino is not playing, and you're playing Declan Rice in that 8 role, and you're playing Jorginho, for example, in a 6 role, maybe in a League Cup game, and you're playing Odegaard on the right, or if you now want to play all 3 solid defensive midfielders that can also crash the box every now and then, score a goal, and then just come back and lock up shop. You play Merino, you play Declan Rice, and you play Thomas Partey. And just marshal that entire place. So I'm happy with who we signed. I think there's a lot of rotation. The players play multiple positions, and that's a good thing for us. Calafiori can play left back and left full back, so that's another good rotation. Gabriel needs to rest. We can play him there. Timber can play full back as well, right? Full back, right full back, and so hey.
I said.
And remember, we still have Tomiyasu.
Yeah,
coming up, who I rate as well. Injury. Yeah, we have Tomiyasu as well. We have quite a number of other, like 1 or 2 players that we can actually still throw into the mix.
And for me, I would say, like I said, 7.5. And the reason why I say that, because I think Arsenal have addressed issues they were having from last on that left-hand side. Like those, and also you could tell majority of the things were happening from the right-hand side. So 7.5, I don't think is bad. That's a good summer signing because they brought, and it's all about sometimes squad depth also. If you look at like Man City now, for example, Rodri this season, we will expect Rodri to get a lot of rest because now we have Gundogan that can play in that role. Kovacic is still there. Also, Phil Foden sometimes if he doesn't play, we have Savinho right now that is there. So you can always rotate. You can always rotate for the League Cups and the early stages of the FA Cup as well. Yeah, so yeah,
it's funny you say that. Like when City signed Savinho, and everybody's like, "Who's Savinho?" And I'm like, "That's the point." Pep is saying, "I need this profile for this. There's a job this profile needs to do for me." Me moving Doku across left and right the whole of last season was not. I want to have stable on both ends, on both sides, and be able to. And Pep found a profile that works for him. Savinho was not a player anybody knew 2 years ago.
Very true.
Very true. 2 seasons ago. So it's about the profile. When you're at that very top, it's like us getting Mikel Merino. People come there and said, "Do you realize that when you're literally at that top point where you're chasing, you can't just. You have to get the right profiles." And I think they are the right profiles. So yeah.
And to end this, I would just like to say, Dayo, if there's one thing I know Mikel Arteta has done well, is if there's one thing people should never doubt him, is about the players he wants himself. If you check the players he has actually gone for, there's no guarantee for any signing to do well. But if you compare the rate of the ones that have done well and the ones that have not done well, he's more on the side of the one that has actually done well. So Mikel Arteta has done. As I said,
he's done a good job.
He's done a good job. He has done
a good job.
Yeah, especially so when his judgment, when it comes to his judgment in terms of the kind of players he wants, he tells the club, "I want this guy. Please get me this guy." I think he has done a good job when it comes to his judgment of players. Yeah.
This season, it's official. Every player that is on that squad
Yeah.
None of them are from the Wenger era anymore.
Wow.
Not one player. Every single player on that squad for Arsenal is now a Mikel Arteta player.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. At the end of this, may the best, like I always say to my other friends, may the best team win. Me, I don't say much. I always say, may the best team win. And thank you so much, Dayo, for coming. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much.